How's it going, guys? Welcome to Track Hack. Thank you guys for being here. If you're watching this on the Patreon, thank you guys for being a member. And if you're catching this a few days later on the YouTube, also thank you guys for being here. Go to the description and click on the Patreon and join that. It's free. And if you guys want to upgrade so you can get an extra video per week, I would really appreciate you guys doing that. It's how we can make these videos possible. Normally, me and Silas would be filming a podcast for today, but we are unable to because I just moved back to New York and it's been super hectic. And Silas is in his first week of college and he's super hectic. So I just wanted to put out this video, and I didn't want to put it behind a paywall because talking about this subject is so important. Carbs is one of the most talked about subjects in running. It's highly debated. People go back and forth about what they believe about carbs, and I'm here to set the record straight. So I just want to preface this and say I believe in high carb fueling. I believe that you should be taking somewhere in between 80 to 120 grams of carbs an hour, and it's not because I want you to go out and buy as many gels that you can because I work in running retail. It's because that is where peak performance lies. There has been a study from the National Institute of Health. There's a lot of studies, but I'm going to quote this one, where they tested male and female athletes at the professional and non-professional level when it came to their aerobic performance. And they tested it at different levels of carb intake. So they tested it from a low-carb athlete to people doing higher carbs, taking carbs with breakfast, a little before exercise, during exercise, and after. And they found that the ideal peak aerobic performance happens taking somewhere between 80 to 120 grams of carbs an hour. That is a lot of carbs. When it comes to taking a standard gel, which if you guys don't know, a gel is one of the most popular ways to take in carbs. They found that when you take in 120 grams of these babies, that it's really good for you. You get a lot of performance out of it. But I do want to say that 80 to 120 grams of carbs an hour means this little gel that's like 22 grams of carbs an hour, you're going to have to take like 5 of these an hour. So not extremely ideal, but I do want to say if you guys are new to taking in carbs, I would buy some of these smaller, cheaper gels. I got a Honey Stinger here. I also got a UCAN energy gel. These are lower carb gels that are widely available. This is available at Target, Walmart, everywhere. Honey Stinger, it's one of the cheaper gel options. UCAN is a longer lasting starch-based gel. Lower in carbs though, so I kind of disagree with the fact that it lasts a little longer. I do like the taste and the consistency though. Taking those gels is a good place for you to start. Finding out what works best with your stomach, because some gels like goo are extremely artificial and don't agree with your stomach. It doesn't agree with mine. And then going with something more natural like a gel with a honey base can help you, and you can find out what taste you like, stuff like that. But I think that's a great place for you to start. However, after you've experimented with gels for a couple of weeks, I think it's time for you to put your big boy pants on and start high carb fueling, because they found in the study from the National Institute of Health that fueling at 80 to 120 grams of carbs an hour increases performance and recovery. So we're taking gels so we can have energy during the run and prevent a crash or a bonk and have that peak output. But we're also taking it because it helps us recover after. If you're on one of my training plans from Track Hack, these are tough training plans. You're doing a lot of mileage. You're doing some intense, sometimes twice a week threshold runs. And this is hard on the body. And really, I feel like the only way that you can do these hard training plans is if you're taking in a lot of carbs. Endurance sports used to be about who was the biggest freak of nature. Who could run these crazy times and these crazy distances, and their body could just run off of no carbs, and they could take in low carbs and not produce so much lactic acid, and they could get through these tough runs without taking carbs, and it was just a matter of who was a bigger scientific freak. That's not the case anymore. And now high carb fueling is the norm and the standard for professional athletes. And that's why in the past year with high carb fueling, we've seen the mile record go down and we've seen the 2-hour marathon record be broken, which was two things that scientists thought would never happen in our lifetime. But because of high carb fueling, this has been made possible. So one other thing that you can take if you're beginning, is you can do energy chews, whether this is in the case of a stroopwafel like I have here. There's also Precision has some chews that taste pretty good, and they're 30 grams of carbs. I recommend that before exercise, not during. It's kind of hard to chew and run at the same time. It's a little easier to slurp and run at the same time. Now let's talk about high carb intake here. SIS has beta fuels, which are 40 grams of carbs per gel. They go down easy, and I mean, in general, you should be taking gels with water, but I found that I can take these without water and get them down just fine, and it's 40 grams of carbs, which is super good. Tailwind, as well as pretty much every brand now, has some kind of high-carb drink mix. A drink mix is great. I just don't recommend it in a race. I think it's okay to fuel with because drink mixes can cause a little bit of GI stress, more so than a gel. And then one of the new crazes has been sodium bicarbonate or bicarb, which is also a high-carb fueling thing, but it just has sodium with it. So it's about 100 grams with the substrate of gels that you try, and then it is a lot of sodium pellets, so that's good too. Now, there are some people who will tell you that there are downsides to doing high-carb fueling, and that could be true in terms of there could be some GI stress, and it's theorized that it could lower your fat oxidation. But the fat oxidation theory's kind of been proven wrong. Taking in carbs is not going to turn you into a big old fat blob. You're putting these carbs directly into the burning of your aerobic activity. I started high carb fueling and I was 210 pounds. And now I'm sitting here at 165 a few months later. So it is not going to cause you to gain weight. Do not listen to the people who follow the keto diet and tell you that if you take in carbs, you're just going to become fat, because that just isn't true. In terms of the GI stress, yes, that is true. You need to gut train, and that's why we also high carb fuel, because you're training your gut on how to handle those carbs during aerobic activity and train your stomach for the jostling around while taking in a lot of carbs. If right now I had to guide you on what carbs to purchase and help your wallet a little bit, I would say buy Precision Fuel high carb mixes. The regular gels are 30 grams of carbs, and they also have a 90 gram carb mix that you can drink and screw the top back on and keep it later for during your run. So for me, drinking half and half of the gel is 45 grams and then another 45 grams for the hour, which is a good way for you to like see it in your head of like, okay, this is what I'm doing per hour. And then pretty much any high carb drink mix you can do is going to be pretty cheap. The Feed is the cheapest drink mix. I think it's 30 grams for 30 servings for $22. So it's like less than $1 to have 30 grams of carbs for 30 servings, which is a pretty good freaking deal. You can get that on thefeed.com. It's their high carb drink mix. You can also replace that with your gels if gels are getting a little bit too pricey for you. So do high carb fueling, test it during your run. If you're just starting it out, go with the little guys, go with the Honey Stinger, go with the UCAN. Test those out, see how they affect your stomach. If you like the taste of those, then you just need to start taking those more often. If you like those smaller 24-gram gels, that's totally fine. You just, instead of taking those gels every 4 miles, might need to take them every 5K or every 2.5. I definitely wouldn't take gels like every 10 minutes because that's just kind of tiring and annoying. But if it's every 20 to 30 minutes, then that's how it is if you're taking in these smaller gels. Thank you guys for being here. I hope that I gave you a little bit of information and a little overview on fueling with carbs and why you should be high carb fueling. And let me know if you guys have any other questions. I'm planning to make a video about shoes and how to have a shoe rotation and what kind of a shoe rotation looks like for a runner. But to me, the carbs is the most important because you guys have to take care of your bodies, you have to recover properly, and you have to fuel properly. So in order to do that, the only way to do that is carbs and electrolytes, which I would love to talk about electrolytes in a later video. But for now, we're talking about the big guy, and that is carbs. So thank you guys for being here, and love you lots, and I'll see you guys in a bit. Peace.